Welcome to Cosmic Comics. The story begins in Captain America issue 180. So much that is important to Captain America happens in this issue as it marks the first appearance of Steve Rogers as the Nomad. I feel I have to acknowledge that this transition took place in this issue, but I'm not going to be focusing on that portion of the story at all. The Viper, who is the current leader of the Serpent Squad, is in state custody and is being transported by government marshals from Virginia to Washington, D.C. to testify to congressional subcommittees about the slanders against Captain America by Hardiman of the Secret Empire. During transport, a dart shatters the car's bulletproof glass and begins to emit gas into the vehicle. The marshals flee the vehicle to get away from the gas and are promptly shot dead after exiting the car. The Viper assumes the Serpent Squad has arrived to rescue him. His benefactor is Madame Hydra, or at least that's who she was before being booted out of Hydra. She's taken on a new name, Viper. Well now, isn't this just a little bit embarrassing? You can see where we might have a problem here, as there now appear to be two Vipers. The original Viper offers to change his name, but Madame Viper makes it clear she has no qualms with killing anybody who gets in her way, so she takes him out. She's killed the Viper, and from her lengthy monologue justifying her actions, we learn the new Viper is fighting for nihilism. This is an interesting take on a villain, since I would think that a villain who is driven by nihilism couldn't be swayed by money or power outside of using it as a means to bring about more destruction for the sake of destruction. Couple this with her ability to kill in cold blood and walk through thick brush while wearing high heels. Damn, that's impressive. This appears to be a very dangerous woman. She then removes the Viper's costume from his corpse. It's never really revealed why the marshals let the Viper wear his costume to go testify in front of Congress in the first place, but moving on. The Serpent Crown is yet to be introduced into this storyline, but we can surmise that based on the new Viper's flat, emotionless tone and lack of any pleasure or remorse, that she is under the power of the Serpent Crown at this point. With that in mind, I don't know how accountable we can hold her for her actions. Either way, Set has put a new plan into motion. Back at the Virginia State Penitentiary, Princess Python and her snake are freeing both Cobra and Eel, the latter being the brother of the recently deceased Viper. In fact, the Eel thinks that his brother is the one who planned this escape until Princess Python tells him no, that she's working for somebody else. As they burst forth from the prison, Princess Python declares that the Serpent Squad lives again. Soon, the four members of the Serpent Squad unite within a warehouse on the outskirts of Georgetown. Viper aggressively takes over the group. Eel doesn't care who's in charge, but wants to know how she came to be wearing his brother's costume. Viper lies and tells him that his brother died in a battle against the forces of order. Eel is understandably upset, but Viper tells him to suck it up and promises him revenge. She then recounts her backstory, which ends with the formation of the Serpent Squad. Cobra doesn't seem interested in being a pawn for whatever personal quest she wants to accomplish, and lets it be known that he is his own man. This turns into a challenge for the leadership of the Serpent Squad. Cobra is fast, but Viper is faster. She easily throws Cobra back. Before he can approach once more, Viper has struck him with a paralyzing dart. While Cobra is sprawled out on the floor, Viper demands obedience from the remaining two members of the Serpent Squad before telling them that she has a mission for them all. The next time we see the Serpent Squad, Steve Rogers is dropping in for his first appearance fighting crime as Nomad. I love what he says once he sees what's going on. Wait, what's that on the street? Somebody's being kidnapped by a lot of old supervillains. A lot of old supervillains. I don't know why, but I find that funny. The Serpent Squad sees Nomad coming and they rush into the theater to escape. The fight breaks out at the front of the theater. Eel is knocked back into the crowd. In the middle of the melee, Nomad recognizes Lady Hydra and calls her out by name, and then takes out the mighty Viper with a curtain. Princess Python sends her snake into the ruckus, but Nomad tosses it right back to her. Cobra takes his turn at Nomad. He's easily tossed off of Nomad's back, and as Nomad gives chase, he trips over his cape. Because of this, the Serpent Squad gets away with their prize. Nomad realizes why Captain America was never given a cape and rips his off, swearing to learn from his mistakes and free whomever they kidnapped. Back at the warehouse, Viper finally reveals who they kidnapped. Hugh Jones, president of Roxxon Oil. Cobra has the right response with, "Good Lord," because he's just realized how deep the shit has gotten at this point. Deep, as Roxxon Oil is one of the most powerful companies within the Marvel Universe. Finally, Viper also reveals that the group has one more member that she is yet to reveal. Enter the Atlantean warlord, Krang, and his secret weapon, the seven-headed Serpent Crown of Las Lumeria. From here, we move forward in issue to Captain America issue 181. Namor, for reasons unknown, decides to pick a fight with Nomad because he doesn't know where Krang is. He is attempting to find Krang before he meets up with the Serpent Squad. After his second fight as Nomad, which was against Namor here, Captain America is already blabbing about his new secret identity and ends the battle by telling Namor who he is. As we saw last issue, Krang has already met up with the Serpent Squad. Krang's plan is to have Hugh Jones wear the Serpent Crown and thus have one of the most powerful men in the world under Set's influence. Hugh tries to convince the Viper to stop the madness because she's a woman, but all that does is piss her off as she tells Hugh she's the hardest person he'll ever encounter. Krang chimes in to agree with her and states that her prowess is greater than his own and that he was directed to ally himself with her by the crown itself. Then we go on to learn where the Serpent Crown has been for all this time. The last place we saw the crown was on Naga's head as his dead body in Lumeria sank beneath the ocean floor. 3 weeks prior, Namor had released Krang from prison and exiled him from Atlantis for like the second or third time now? I can't keep track. Sometime after he left, Krang was led to the Serpent Crown. He found it upon the base of a deep chasm. Almost immediately upon finding the crown, Krang was driven to place it upon his brow. Once upon his head, Krang's brain exploded into visions as Set reached out to him across dimensions and commanded him to seek out Madame Hydra. Once Krang found her, Madame Hydra agreed to take part in the crown's scheme. This then led to the kidnapping of Hugh Jones and finally to the Serpent Crown being placed upon his head. Captain America and Namor are just chilling on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial when they both stop to listen to a radio report coming out of a nearby car. The Serpent Squad is taking responsibility for the kidnapping of Hugh Jones. Hugh then comes on the radio and tells his employees not to interfere with the Serpent Squad over the next 24 hours. At that point in time, more demands will be made. Namor recognizes the tone of Hugh's voice and instantly recognizes how his tone matched that of the Lady Dorma when she herself was under the influence of the Serpent Crown. Our two heroes rush into action. They run all the way to the nearest phone booth. Wow, things sure have changed for superheroes over the last 40 years. Namor knows that the last place the crown was seen was in the vicinity of Lumeria. Based on that, Captain America checks for any Roxxon-owned properties in the area and finds one oil rig. At the oil rig in question, the Serpent Squad are currently landing there. They make it clear that as long as the workers stay out of their way, nobody gets hurt. The workers still don't understand why anybody would want to take over an oil rig in the middle of the ocean. It's not the oil that the Serpent Squad wants. They want to try and return Lumeria to the surface, wherein any inhabitants will be forced to flee back into the water, and thus leaving all the secrets of Lumeria to the Serpent Squad. Krang directs Hugh Jones to reverse the direction of the pumps, and doing so will supposedly break Lumeria free of the ocean floor, and have it rise to the surface once more. I'm not certain why they needed to kidnap Hugh Jones for this portion of the plan, as it seems like the Serpent Squad probably could have taken out the small number of drill workers on their own and forced one of them to reverse the pumps. Nomad arrives to stop the Serpent Squad. He's asked Namor to stay behind so that he can prove himself. In the third battle across 2 issues, the Cobra uses what I now assume is his patented move, the headlock. Seriously, does this guy do anything else? Nomad tosses Cobra away. Krang gets one good punch in, but the Nomad gives him back the same if not more. Suddenly, a third party arrives to the fray and begins raining machine gun fire down upon the oil rig. Krang takes this moment to run towards Hugh Jones and steal back the Serpent Crown. Viper is already leaving with Cobra, so Kang tosses her the Serpent Crown as she escapes. Nomad knocks Kang out with another punch. The third party to arrive on the scene exits their helicopter, and we find out that they are Roxxon's private security force who insists that they didn't need Nomad's help in tracking their boss down. The Nomad then essentially destroys any goodwill he might have salvaged from this trip by attacking the security guard. He does this because he feels he didn't get enough thanks for trying to break up a plot that he didn't understand. Not exactly a good reason to hit somebody in polite society. Doing this stateside instead of in international waters would have gotten him arrested. He's lucky they didn't fill him full of bullets and drop him off the side of the rig. After all, Nomad is the one currently trespassing on private property. This rather abrupt note finishes off the issue. This story arc finishes up in Captain America 182. The police received word about the Serpent Squad and spotted them as they returned to the mainland from the Roxxon oil rig. They now have the two remaining members holed up in a firefight. Nomad attempts to rush into the crime scene, but is pulled back and knocked out for his own safety by the local police. Inside the building, Cobra is ready to flee, but Viper makes it clear that she's willing to be annihilated for her cause, nihilism. Cobra breaks down and starts acting like a scared little kid, but actually I guess I'm kinda wrong there, because who am I kidding? With that much gunfire going on, he has every right to be scared. As he says, I'm trapped between the law and a mad woman. Viper tells Cobra to stop sniveling and has him cover for her while she consults the Serpent Crown about what to do next. Outside, the cops have handcuffed Nomad to the squad car. Yeah, lots of bullets around, people shooting guns. Sounds like a great idea. Let's just handcuff this guy to one of our squad cars. The cops then decide to storm the building. Nomad looks on in horror as most, if not all, of the police are mowed down by machine gun fire. Steve Rogers decides that enough is enough and breaks himself free of the cop car and his handcuffs. Wait 1 second, if he could just pull his arms apart to break off the cuffs, then why did he have to pull the tire off of the cop car? But anyway. The Nomad then makes it across the open shooting range into the backside of the building due to some crazy acrobatics, and then he uses a telephone pole to vault himself inside. At the same time that he comes crashing in, the cops have thrown in a tear gas grenade in order to flush out our villains. It lands beside a leaking gas line, which in turn starts a fire in the cellar. If this happened in real life, the cellar probably would have exploded, but hey, comics. I'm not sure if it's anxiety, fear, the tear gas, or what, but Cobra starts to flip out, thinking that Mr. Hyde is after him. Viper gives Cobra the backhand. Viper takes a kick to the head as Nomad enters the scene. He attempts to help the Cobra out by reassuring him that they will make it out alive, but instead of accepting these words of kindness, the Cobra lashes out. Nomad goes on the offensive against Cobra, while Viper grabs a gun and states that none of them are leaving this house alive. The Serpent Crown should be strong enough to get Viper out of this situation, so it seems odd that she opts for a suicide mission. At first I thought this might be because she's such a hardcore nihilist, but instead I think it's due to Set's influence on her, as in a bit of exposition, Viper lets us know the plan is for all of them to go down as martyrs for the Serpent cause, thus ensuring their deeds here today would eventually become the stuff of legends and inspire an entirely new generation of followers of Set. Cobra changes his mind and is ready to head for safety with Nomad. As soon as Cobra stands up, Viper shoots him in the back. This gives Nomad the chance to move in on her, but suddenly, Nomad is caught off guard by the spray of a fire hose. At that moment, the house begins to collapse. Nomad is knocked free of the debris path by the water's blast. There he finds Cobra, whom he helps out of the building. As he turns back to look upon the house, it collapses into a heap. Cap thinks that Viper is dead, but we've all read enough comics to know otherwise. While nobody is looking and smoke hangs heavy in the air, the Serpent Crown rides along a flow of tepid swill leading into an open manhole. Thus ends another chapter of the Serpent Crown. Thanks for watching. I love it when anybody hits those buttons below. I'm out.